Hey Crossroadians, Dragon here, with Dave Brewer, and today we're talking about Firefly the board game, Gale Force 9's recent release. Dave and I sat down and played a late-night game, which led to many trivial arguments, but we'll get into that.
You stole my crew.
Shh. They weren't happy with you anyway. The basic premise of the game is you are a captain of one of the Firefly class starships, and you take on jobs to gain money.
There's a different scenario that you choose before the game starts.
Okay. And you can also take on crew to make jobs easier and upgrade your ship with different engines and med bays, that kind of stuff.
Give equipment to your crew.
Yeah. So the first thing we'll talk about is the franchise. Now, Dave, are you a Whedonite, as they would say?
I wouldn't necessarily call myself a Whedonite, but I thoroughly enjoyed Firefly. I own it. I watched it all in one sitting, actually a couple of times. So it's really good. It's really interesting. Combination of sci-fi and Old West / frontierism. He did a really good job. It's too bad that Fox torpedoed it because they wanted him to, basically shut up and make more coffee.
I personally am a Whedonite, I guess you would say. Buffy, Angel, Dollhouse, Cabin in the Woods. So this was just another thing I could throw money at Joss Whedon for. But getting into the gameplay, I think it's pretty easy to pick up, Dave.
Yeah, it's especially once you've gone through it once, it's fairly straightforward. Most of the missions are pick up and deliver to another set of the universe, or a galaxy, more appropriately, and the way you pick things up can differ. You can just need to have certain iconography that are on your cruise card / equipment.
There's just a lot of options with the missions wise. There's the basic pick up here, bring over there, but there's also the what's it called? There's the illegal missions and the legal missions. So you can if you want, you can be an entirely honest crew, which I think you tried to do in our game last night.
I didn't really try to. It just sort of happened.
And then, with the replayability, there's currently 7 different scenarios.
Which those give you the game end triggers and whatnot.
Yeah. And what's also cool is whenever you complete a mission, you become solid with that contact, so there's more bonuses to it. Variety. How we're talking about replayability with the game itself. It's pretty. We talked about it's rather simple to pick up. You just do missions, but how do you think it would be as far as doing this hundreds of times?
That I think also remains to be seen. It seems like it will with the different scenarios. We did one of the more straightforward scenarios, which interestingly enough is not the recommended first trial scenario. I can't remember what the recommended first trial scenario is, but there was a lot more to it, which I think would be kind of overbearing for the first time that you're running through, just because you have to get all sorts of combinations of you get to do this, and then you can move on to step 2, and you have to go through 3 or 4 steps to end the game. Whereas we did a very cut and dry, whenever a player makes it to 12,000 or more space bucks. You can get a gold token, and then later on, as an action, you can basically declare one more round, and the other players get another round, and the person that declares the one more round doesn't. And then the game ends. So I would recommend one of those, and there's 2 different ones that are like that. I would recommend one of those 2 for your starter game, just to kind of have a very cut and dry, okay, this is how we can see the end of the game, as opposed to, all right, well, what do we do now?
Yeah.
To get your feet wet and, get in the mode of doing what you need to do. Because there's a lot of jobs out there that require the aim to misbehave deck to draw ones off that. And if you don't complete all those, you fail that task.
Let's talk about the aim to misbehave deck real quick.
It's pretty rugged.
Basically, whenever or on most illegal missions, before you can complete it, you have to draw or you have to complete one or more aim to misbehave cards, and most of them are like they rely on skill checks. So on your crew cards, each member of the crew has little icons there on the right, and those are basically, they add to your skill checks. So this is Malcolm Reynolds right here. Everybody knows him. He's got 2 pistols and a little Chinese speaking symbol. The 2 pistols represent basically damage or attack power, and the Chinese speaking symbol represents
diplomacy.
Yes. There's also a little wrench, which is a mechanic skill, so like Kaylee has that. And so on each of the aim to misbehave cards, there's generally a test you have to do.
There's 2. You can do one of 2 different tests. Some tests require amounts of those icons. Some also require things like a transport or, other fake ID or something of that nature.
Add-ons and stuff.
Not all of them, but a fair amount of them at the bottom have a thing that'll let you auto-pass through. Like I know there's one that's like, you can auto-pass with a sniper rifle. Or this one, you can auto-pass if you have River Tam on your crew, which is nice. Because like I said, the tests are pretty rugged. Most of them are fairly high in nature of what you need for the skill check. Or if you fail, there's things like, kill off your entire crew, or kill off 2 of your crew.
That happened to me twice.
Yes. Your whole crew gets angry. Which, they have these little disgruntled crew tokens, which are a little blue face with a tear coming down it. And those go on your crew, and any member of your crew that gets 2 leaves your crew. Also of note, your captain can get those as well through various card mechanics in the game, and if they get 2 of those, he just fires your whole crew, which can be very poor. Also of note, if any of your crew members have one of those, and another player lands in your space, they can buy that crew member out from under you.
I bought Jane off of him.
He bought Jane off me, because he's...
Because you didn't pay him.
I can't say what he is, because this is a family show, but... You know what I'm thinking.
So let's talk about the crews for a second. Now there are your basic, your memorable characters from the show. Everybody right here: River Tam, Bishop, Anara, that kind of stuff. But then there's also like hired guns. There's some characters that have names, which I don't remember ever seeing them in the show, except maybe standing in the background. But
yeah, like any of the named characters of note. Because there's way for your crews to die, with like reaver ship attacks and other things, or failing the pistol-based skill checks and whatnot. Any named character that dies in that fashion gets removed from the game. The mercs will say at the bottom that they just get thrown in the discard pile.
And I think that it's sort of like the crew itself kind of adds a flavor to the game itself. I know. Between the 2 differences between our crew is, like, mine was very, sort of a classic, I'm just hiring guns to do my work, and whereas you had, like, a brothel on your ship, basically.
I did.
You were running, your captain was what, Nandy from, is it Nandy? Yeah, Nandy,
yeah.
From the brothel on, I don't know, that planet they visited.
Yeah.
And then you just kept getting companions. So, and so I kind of saw that aspect adding more flavor to the game than I initially thought it would, because my crew kept dying because I kept failing aim to misbehave tests. Final opinions. Do you think, Dave, that there's anything about this game that if you were to build this game, was there anything you would change about it?
One thing I would change would just be a component. It's cool. They have a little first player marker, which is a cool dinosaur like Wash used to play with on the ship. They should have had it be a plastic one, so that it could just stand up on your ship, just like Wash had in the show. Other than that, anything, we've only gone through the one mission, or the one scenario for gameplay, so we'll have to see how others play out. It would be very easy to add others, to add any other, crew member equipment or ships or whatnot, ship upgrades from either the show or the movie, or even the comics. That would be very easy. The space bucks are very colorful and cool looking. Once they're broken in, they won't stick together quite as much, but they're brand new. So, but all in all, I think it's a reasonably solid game with a fair amount of replayability. Obviously, it's got an excellent theme to it for anyone that liked the show at all. Pretty much the whole staff, with the exception of, I think, one person on staff, bought the game in week 1. So,
I'd say, like,
because we bought 14 copies and we're down to 3. So
I mean, if there was one thing I'd change, I would like to see, I mean, and this is a minor thing, but it would have been cool to, I don't know, either play as the Alliance or the Reavers. That might have been a cool little mod on it. But probably, I mean, and this would be my next question, what your favorite thing is. You've already listed off a couple things. I like the little dinosaur. I, too, wish it was plastic. I love the space bucks, just because, like, the artwork on it is very awesome for a fan like me. I've considered mounting one of each of those. But overall, like, the variety is a lot of fun, and, getting the chance to just play with any of these is fantastic.
They have reasonably good art scene pictures on the cards. Are nice for for the crew and the various things that you buy. Another note in gameplay is the dice that you use during the skill checks and whatnot, they're exploding. So if you roll a 6, which is Serenity, you actually get another roll on top of that, which is always a nice mechanic. And, the dice are nice quality, the ships are nice quality. I'm glad that they come in a variety of different colors, because some of us like to play with specific colors.
I'd also like to just note that, like, the board itself is not, I mean, there are squares that you move across, but they're not actually squares. They're based off of different circles. So, you actually, I mean, you have to pay attention to where you're moving, because you can easily go away, like, a way that is longer than if you were paying attention, because it's not a perfect step. So.
Neither is space.
Well, that is true. So, that's basically our review. Dave, thumbs up?
Yeah, definite thumbs up. Definitely worth checking out. I think it's certainly worth purchasing. I know for a fact that I'm going to be playing with my role-playing group Monday after our game, and I will probably try to get in a game with it tomorrow at some point in time here at the store on one of my days off.
You have days off?
Sometimes. And I don't know. I might be wrangled into another one this evening, possibly, although I have to go grocery shopping.
Same here. I give it thumbs up. Like I said, I played with Dave. I'm going to be playing this with my friends probably after I get off work tonight. It's a lot of fun. We've got 3 copies in store, and we could definitely special order it if we run out. So come on down. It is retail for $50 right now. So come on down and grab it before it's gone.
And it comes with promos.
And we do have, it's we've got Kaylee, Malcolm. There's a number of promos.
Yeah, it's the regular crew.
Yeah. So it's the regular crew. It's the regular crew minus Inara and Shepard,
who are not actually part of the crew.
Yeah, they're just free ranging. All right. Until next week, I'm Dragon.
I'm Dave.
We'll see you at the store.